You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. It's all things coffee, culinary, and culture.
This coffee festival is absolutely phenomenal. It is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger every year.
We have some coffee product infusion with coffee fried dumpling, coffee bame. We have coffee rice and peas, roast fish.
I've been to festivals in other countries and it's world class. I like the quality, I like what I'm seeing.
Everything today was great, and I'm looking forward to it for next year.
It's the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival, and BATV is here to bring you highlights from day 2 of a 3-day event which is already off to a great start at promoting the world's best music, food and coffee right here in the cool hills of Newcastle in St. Andrew. I'm your host, Andrew Laidley, and I'll have the highlights, so stay with us. Much more after this.
Welcome to my constituency, Mikasa Sukasa. All right. Now, as you can see, this coffee festival is absolutely phenomenal. It is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger every year. We made sure that the roads, well, they told us the Queen was coming. They didn't realize it was the coffee festival that was coming. The roads are wonderful all the way up to red light. And by the time we come back here next year, we will have beautiful roads all the way to Newcastle to ensure that your experience is fabulous. Minister, I have to thank you. I have to thank the Ministry of Tourism for that particular insight in understanding that for the coffee farmers to do well, we have to move from just thinking about coffee as a drink. We have found the man who understands networking, tourism, and marketing a product that we want to move from just being our wonderful Blue Mountain coffee to the legendary Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee.
Coffee, as you know, is the second most consumed liquid on earth. More than 70 countries across the world utilize coffee for various applications. We in Jamaica seem to have locked ourselves into coffee for export. But there are so many other applications, economic value that we can derive from the use of coffee in so many forms. This morning I read that coffee, in fact, can make flour. So you can make coffee now, coffee cake, of course, which you all know about. But you can make your coffee cookies that you all know about. But now you can make coffee dumpling. The point we're making is that there are numerous other applications. It is now possible for us to create a huge coffee value chain, and from it, the coffee cottage industries. So that exhibitions like these, which we're promoting, and we're doing it with a lot of energy, is not going to provide a showcase of coffee beverage and an opportunity for tasting and for the world to recognize, in fact, that we have the best coffee in the world. But it's also an opportunity for us to create a value chain that will bring jobs and more economic well-being to a larger number of our Jamaican people who are in the interior and who, because of where they live, lacking in urbanity as it exists, still have the opportunity to generate income and to stem the drift from the rural areas into the urban areas seeking jobs. So tourism is that centerpiece that drives jobs and inclusive growth. And part of what we're doing is to create a strategy that not only brings visitors to our shore, but to enable the expenditure from visitor arrivals to remain in the destination of Jamaica. Jamaica now has a retention of only 30 cents in the dollar, although that is 10 cents higher than the rest of the Caribbean, and only 20 cents below that of the highest performer in the region, the Dominican Republic. But we must build out that capability because that's how we're going to be wealthy from tourism. Finally, I want to say, located as we are here, and this Newcastle is a perfect place for it to be.
So I'm here with Adam Stewart. He's the chairman of the Tourism Linkages Network. Talk to me a little bit about the inaugural Blue Mountain Coffee Festival that's happening here today.
It's kind of hard to beat this, right? So we decided when we're going to do this, we're going to celebrate the best attributes of Jamaica, what Jamaica is naturally good at. You know, Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee is something that we almost take for granted in many instances. It's voted world's best as the highest grade coffee, celebrated all around the world. And what we wanted to do was find a way to expand the image of the Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. So locally to Jamaican citizens, so we create more of a coffee culture in the country of Jamaica. To the purchasing teams in, you know, the network is a division of the Ministry of Tourism. So all of the purchasing divisions of the hotels across the country, so that we're getting Blue Mountain Coffee in the hands, whether it's in the suitcases in the exported coffee that they take home, or they're tasting it in the hotels themselves. The idea was to put on a festival that everybody could come to. I have about 50 people here from Sandals, and it's amazing. Every single one of my team members that I've asked so far, if they've been up here to the JDF camp up in the Blue Mountains, not one has said yes. So we live in Jamaica. There are things about Jamaica that we don't even explore as yet, and they're having the time of their life. So you have the vendors here showcasing all of their products: coffee scrubs, coffee candles, coffee infused products that you put on your skin, the actual coffee cakes. We had a coffee dumpling a while ago, a flour dumpling, coffee rice and peas. I never seen that yet in my life. And these are wares that the ultimate goal here is that people are trading, people are selling, our visitors are feeling it. So we get them into the hotel, they enjoy it, they go back home, they go on the website, and we just start exporting products out of Jamaica in a way that, you know, we think of coffee as just a drink, but it is so much more than a drink and can become so much more than a drink.
Now, I know that outside of your role as chairman in the Linkages Network, you are also a member of the private sector here in Jamaica. How important would you say it is that private sector members come on to projects like this and really encourage it?
Well, private sector is what drives the economy, and that's what we have to remember, right? So the government puts a framework around policy, but it is actually the private sector trading that, you know, gets the economic dollars turning, spins off the taxation, which, you know, allows us to do all of our infrastructure and investments for the country. So, you know, without private sector, there are no economics. Without economics, people can't afford to live, and they can't afford to, you know, to rise to the prosperity that we're trying, all of us in our own way, to get Jamaica to rise and matriculate to a higher standard of living. So, you know, the message here today is simply trade, do business, formalize yourself into the tax net for sure, and just get business flowing in a way that people naturally fall in love. The interesting thing is that the product that it is that we're talking about is something people naturally love when they're exposed to it. Either whether they're drinking the coffee, or they're putting the scrubs on themselves, or you're smelling the candles. These are all things that immediately you look at somebody's face and you don't have to sell it to them. They love it as it is. So we're just showcasing it, marketing it, and then hopefully trade comes behind that.
We take a break and come back with much more from the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. Stay with us.
Bullseye for Eyes Summer Sale. Try your luck at the Bullseye and get up to 40% off your frames. Land on the Bullseye and your eyeglasses are completely free. This summer, July 15th to August 31st, everyone is a winner at Island Eyewear. Conditions apply. Call 630-1180 or visit islandeyewear.com. Island Eyewear. Your price, your style.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now here's more highlights from the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. I'm now joined by Minister of Tourism, Edmund Bartlett. Minister, it's the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. Talk to me about the plans that went into this festival.
Well, first of all, the notion of a coffee festival flows from the fact of utilizing our cultural assets as a means to drive visitor arrivals into our country. But it also goes to a deeper value of bringing to the forefront of the consciousness of all of us as Jamaicans, the power and the value of these cultural assets and the extent to which we have not been utilizing them sufficiently to bring economic value to ourselves and to cause the prosperity to come. And so this festival is therefore an intention for us to celebrate all things coffee, for us to look at what coffee is really capable of doing, the deep and wide value chain of coffee. That it is not just an export crop, a commodity for value added to be attached to another country somewhere else, but that it is a part of an asset with enormous capability for spin-offs. That there are so many applications to coffee that if we get it right, we can develop a whole industry around coffee.
Minister, I understand that the government has started an Eat Jamaica campaign. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, you know, the Eat Jamaica campaign has been on and on and on and on. And we have to do something more practical, like producing enough to be able to eat. But part of what we need to also do is to change our consumption patterns. Because Jamaica's staple is still imported goods, rice and flour and grains. So we need to look seriously at our consumption patterns, because that's a big way in which Eat Jamaica is going to be truly meaningful, is when we are having a taste for Jamaican goods and Jamaican assets.
Minister, I want to talk to you a little bit about what happened last year with Jamaica losing what was regarded as one of its major trading partners. I believe it was Japan. Are we shoring up the sector now by having a festival like this?
Well, no. Well, look, the global market has changed, and we have to respond to it. And one of the things that keeps you on the cutting edge is nimbleness and adaptable. You have to be adaptive, because the market is going to change because it's a function of human action. And so we have to be always doing more with what we have so that we can be ahead of the curve every time there's a change. So now we need to look at how we can make coffee far more effective on the market for us, not just now as beans that we produce for another country to process, but how do we do the conversion ourselves and then to enable the other applications which will deepen and broaden the value chain.
Talk to me about some of the preparation that went into this.
Well, it was quite exciting to have this. You know, we really wanted to have it here in the Blue Mountain, so we partnered with Newcastle. I mean, it's quintessential Blue Mountain. We work with all the partners, both those on the other side close to the Gordon Town as well as those on the Newcastle side, and really just decided to showcase everything coffee, but also to celebrate everything that is the Blue Mountain. So, you know, we have great cafes and restaurants and bars all along the way, but we also have some great attractions. So we're combining everything. We have very good culinary experiences. We have some really great restaurants, and we've brought everything into one place and everyone can experience it. The beauty of the views of the Newcastle, but also the history of the Newcastle, and then putting everything together so that persons can really have a fantastic time.
Now, I know that the government is placing greater emphasis on gastronomy. What can we expect out of the gastronomy tourism area come this year?
Well, definitely, you know, we have launched our Taste Jamaica website and app, and we're going to continue to partner with other persons in terms of raising our food festivals to the next level. We'll be looking at opening up other gastronomy centers, as we had Devon House as our first across the island. So it's an ongoing project, but most importantly, it's education, letting Jamaicans understand the wide length and breadth of gastronomy tourism and how they can capitalize on that using using indigenous Jamaican products and making really good tourism experiences, not only for overseas visitors, but for locals who are here on the island. Because you know, you're still a tourist if you move from one area of the island. So we want to make sure that everybody experiences everything fantastic about our cuisine at all levels, and to excite persons to create new and different and exciting Jamaican products.
I'm now joined by a coffee farmer, Mr. Mervyn Hibbert. Talk to me about the festival today. What has it been like?
It has been a great festival. Owing to the fact that I am a small coffee farmer, and what I see today is great, and I believe that more farmers should have been here, and more Jamaicans should be here to witness this festival of our own Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. I also view that a lot of visitors was here, and I see they all full joy themselves. Everything today was great, and I'm looking forward to it for next year.
Is there anything that you think the government can do to enhance the festival come next year?
Well, what I think the government should do, they should put a bigger input in it, okay? And to help to do something to help we the struggling farmers based on what is reached us as coffee farmers now. Because you know, our venture is very expensive, okay? So if we can get some reduction like in farm tools, fertilizers and things like those, it will be great, it will be helpful for us at this time.
Hypro being here today, maybe many folks may want, Hypro at a coffee seminar. Everybody know Hypro to be a company that sells feed and chicken. But over the years, Hypro has integrated the operations, and we now have an agronomy department at Hypro, where we sell a wide cross-section of pesticides, meaning fungicides and insecticides, fertilizers for the coffee industry.
What do you think about the festival? What are your thoughts?
Well, for the first time, it's a great show. We get to interact with some of the stakeholders. We can showcase our products that we have at Hypro to control some of the major problem in the coffee industry.
I like festivals, and I've been to festivals in other countries, and it's world class. I like the quality, I like what I'm seeing, and I have a bit of love for coffee, so it's good to come and have experienced so many different coffee products, and there are also other things, so it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
Chris, talk to me a little bit about your experience so far.
Oh, it's been wonderful so far to be able to come up to the Blue Mountains and experience where the real coffee comes from in Jamaica. The people and all the events and stalls that have been held are pretty good.
You have a drink in your hand there. Where is that drink from?
Right there, sir. Island Blue coffee.
How is that?
Pretty damn good.
All right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, man.
It is truly a weekend of Epicurean excellence right here at the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival, and I'm now joined by a few friends. Talk to me about the experience so far.
Oh, it's a great initiative. Although we live in Jamaica, we don't get to drink Blue Mountain coffee, and we are all from Japan, and Blue Mountain coffee is very famous there. So yes, we've always wanted to try.
What are you looking forward to?
Trying the local delicacy and different types of coffee, yes, of this very beautiful location.
We're still here at the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival, and we have much more for you coming up right after this break. Stay with us.
Oh, what kind of ESN paper this?
I'm a birth certificate.
You what?
Birth certificate.
Hold on. Let me help you.
Where are you?
Me apply for your birth certificate online on the RGD website. You lucky things improve and get easy now. Is there not any security feature? Are you granny could I write this?
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
What has the feedback been like from some of the patrons here today?
Oh, it's been amazing. As a matter of fact, I was just walking through the marketplace and, you know, everyone is having such a great time. They didn't expect this evening. They're enjoying Taurus Riley. They've enjoyed the performances, the dancers from Dance Theatre Expressions. They enjoyed Charlestown Maroons. The food, the energy, the atmosphere. It's amazing.
What did the Tourism Linkages Network hope to take away from this festival today?
We have 36 booths, everything, coffee related, coffee infused, and coffee. Our mandate is to connect local suppliers of goods and services with the tourism industry, to introduce them to that expansive value chain that is tourism. And so with an event like this, we're working with the stakeholders in the Blue Mountains. We're working with, I'm sure you saw the signs coming up, the culinary trail. So we're working with the restaurants for that culinary experience. We're working with coffee farmers as well, so that they understand that their contribution to the coffee industry is more than just producing the beans. You understand? So essentially, we are trying to deepen our linkages on the agriculture side by working with farmers and also working with the businesses to create a wholesome, fulsome experience that locals and visitors alike can enjoy.
And what can we expect from the Blue Mountain Coffee Festival 2019?
Oh gosh, bigger and better. Of course, we want to continue to strengthen our partnerships with JDF, with Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, RADA, JCRA. We want to work with all the coffee producers, the Cafe Blues, coffee traders, Cannonballs, Starbucks. We want to work with all of them, big and small, and just work to make the industry even better for all the players.
Cannonball Cafe is one of the first cafes in the Jamaica industry. We have been in business for over 14 years. We offer a wide range of products, from the most outstanding and delectable breakfasts to soups, sandwich, salads, lasagnas, crab backs, and of course, the unbelievable Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, because without that, there is nothing else to be had.
Talk to me about how the festival here might boost your brand at Cannonball Cafe.
Well, it's definitely going to help us, because anything that we can do to raise the awareness of our Blue Mountain coffee can only benefit us. And we are so intrinsically steeped with our coffee culture here, and we want to get out to everybody in Jamaica how fabulous our coffee is, and the world actually, and what we can do and how talented we are with our coffee as well as all of our baked goods. It can only help us. It's a win-win for everybody.
What do you think about the state's idea to move out of the traditional drink-like use of the Blue Mountain coffee?
Well, we're already doing that, because we have it infused in our bread pudding. We have what we call a mini puff of heaven, which is an eclair with some coffee-infused French cream. We do coffee-infused brownies with a glacé sauce all over it. So we have a wide assortment. It's not just for drinking, but it's also for eating and consuming. Chocolate-covered coffee beans, you name it, we got it.
I'm here with Ras Jeremiah from the company Natural by Nature. Talk to me a little bit about your business here and what's going on.
Yeah, well, we have some coffee product infusion with coffee fried dumpling, coffee bame. We have coffee rice and peas, roast fish.
Well, let me ask you, this is the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts?
Up, thumbs up. 100% out of 100, yeah. And we have to keep on doing such cultural thing like this because Jamaica is a cultural island. We're full of culture, we're full of talent, so put it on.
Talk to me about your experience here today.
It's been fabulous. We as a social enterprise, our goal is to employ deaf people throughout the island. So we're excited today. Our baristas are working in 3 different tents with different partners. We're here today with Country Traders, which their brand is Coffee Roasters brand. We're also at Cannonball and Toyota with David Twyman's Coffee. So it's been great crowds. It's been a steady flow throughout the day, and I feel really good and excited for what next year holds.
How do you think the festival is helping to boost the local coffee industry in Jamaica?
Yeah, it's got to be positive because a lot of times people don't know how diverse coffee can be, how it can be used. So as they come here and see it on Copperwood Port, as a rub, or they see it as a pour over, they see it as espresso, they're going to see a barista competition later. It's just going to raise everybody's awareness and understanding of coffee.
How do you think the festival here will help to boost brand Cafe Blue?
That's a good question. I think it's not only about Cafe Blue. I think it's about Blue Mountain Coffee in general. From the fact that we are coffee farmers and we have actually utilized the product in another way, in many other ways, to develop byproducts. As you can see, our chocolate-covered beans, our chocolate-infused coffee, and our coffee that we distribute all over. I think it's for everybody. I think this is a push Jamaica, not just about us as a brand as Cafe Blue. I think, of course, it will add to what we do, but listen, we're all about everybody that is brand Jamaica in general.
So talk to me about how you at Cafe Blue engage Jamaican farmers.
On the Cafe Blue side, we don't actually have direct contact with the farmers per se. It's more Coffee Traders, which is our mother company. That is the farming aspect of where we come from and where we were birthed out of, our brand. And what we do is we actually provide seminars for them. We actually have contacts that work with us directly that basically ensure that farmers at all times are managing their costs, which is most important, especially for them to reap the benefits of making sure that the coffee is sold at the best price, and also for them to be successful. All right, that is important. So we make sure that we educate them, which is the most important thing, and that we show them the techniques, we share with them, we make sure that they're involved in all aspects of the farming.
Third place is Toyota and Cannonball. Woo! In second place, my people, my coffee lovers, scoring, where are my points? 105 points. It goes to the man that made my lips feel good with that almond on the rim of the cup. Def Kid! Competition winner is Coffee Blue at 108 points.
That's it from us here at the inaugural Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival. Until next time, I've been your host, Andrew Lately, and thanks for tuning in to Business Access TV. Serious about business. Yeah.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Hi there. On the pages today, we'll explore how the use of data and technology is changing the approach to crime prevention and citizen security. Also, enter the portal to get government information and services at your fingertips. Stick around, these and much more to come your way on Jamaica's #1 magazine program after this message.
It just makes sense that while we make hay as the sun shines, we should also save for the rainy days, because even as we all strive to rule our own destiny, life holds some inevitable and unexpected outcomes for which we should be as prepared as possible. Get the help you need now through the National Insurance Scheme. The NIS offers financial security when it's most needed to all gainfully employed or self-employed persons who contribute to this scheme. Whether it's loss of income due to injury on the job, sickness, retirement, and/or death of a breadwinner, there will be help waiting for you and your family. So if you are over 18 years of age and working, visit your nearest Ministry of Labour and Social Security parish office and get registered under the NIS. Start making your contributions in order to reap the numerous social protection benefits when that rainy day occurs. Email prunit@mlss.gov.jm or call 876-922-8000 to 13 for more information.
The gathering of data to plan, develop, and make decisions for crime fighting has been heightened through the establishment of the Jamaica Crime Observatory database. It's evidence of government taking a more proactive approach towards crime prevention and improving citizen safety and security. Find out more on the new methodology and the integrated technological tools involved in our next feature.
The Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, is helping to build safer communities through the Jamaica Crime Observatory Enhancement Project. Established in 2011, the Jamaica Crime Observatory is a web-based crime and violence data bank hosted by the Ministry of National Security.
The project is seeking to enhance the capacity of the Ministry of National Security, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and a number of other stakeholders in their response to data collection, data entry, data dissemination, and data analysis. This is a World Bank funded initiative. It is valued at 44 million Jamaican dollars.
The upgrade to the system falls under JSIF's Integrated Community Development Project, ICDP. The aim of the ICDP is to improve basic infrastructure and social services delivered to 18 targeted at-risk communities. JSIF seeks to use data from the Crime Observatory to inform the planning of social and technical interventions to be implemented in these communities. To ensure a concerted approach towards crime prevention and management, a number of government entities supply statistics to the Crime Observatory. These include the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Ministry of Health, the Registrar General's Department, and the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine.
We collect data from murder statistics to sexual offenses, suicide, traffic fatalities, hospital data, fatal shootings for various parishes in Jamaica.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is the primary source of data for the observatory. Under the project, the Statistics and Information Management Unit of the JCF has received handheld GPS devices to assist in increasing the accuracy of data collected.
From the perspective of the crime scene, the forensic crime scene analysts utilize the handheld devices provided by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund to map the exact location of each crime. The devices are also able to take photographs of the environment within which the crime occurred. With that information, the analysts are able to get a better context within which the crime occurred. And that has been very significant in our analysis process.
In addition, the gadget also assists us to be able to do analysis, temporal analysis of the time crime take place. If you plot those information on a graph, you can see over a period of time, you can be able to determine trend, so you can do trend analysis.
As part of the JCF funding, the unit also received laptops, desktop computers, firewall devices, servers, UPS devices, and software packages to improve the efficiency of processing the data collected.
It allows us to provide data to the Crime Observatory in a much faster turnaround time than the monthly cycle that we usually provide the data to the Crime Observatory.
Additionally, 2 data entry clerks have been employed by the unit to assist with the timely input of information into the system. The Ministry of National Security will also receive funding to engage the services of a crime analyst.
What the engagement of the crime analyst will do is that they will help with better forecasting and predicting utilizing data which is in the Crime Observatory.
The project, which started in 2017, will also fund the training of 7 Ministry of National Security staff and 8 persons from the Jamaica Constabulary Force in the areas of system maintenance, spatial analysis, and the use of ArcGIS software technology. Improvements to the Jamaica Crime Observatory are essential to various stakeholders in the formulation of policies and strategies to keep Jamaicans safe.
What the Crime Observatory is able to do is provide us with good, timely, accurate data for us able to craft our policies, and from crafting our policies we're able to then craft acceptable strategies to help with the crime and violence and citizen security.
With geographic information system, we can actually pinpoint the exact location of a crime. We can pinpoint the area, such as a shop or a bar, that is likely to be affected by a particular type of crime, which means that we can practice preventative policing. We can actually preempt what is likely to take place, put in strategy in order to prevent those occurrences.
Through the Jamaica Crime Observatory Enhancement Project, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund is enhancing the efficient collection and analysis of crime and violence statistics, building on the capacity of the government to better plan crime-fighting strategies.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights.
Easy access to information at your fingertips. Technology to improve the speed and the ease of doing business with government. These are key aspects of Jamaica's development goals, and the gov.jm portal creates a one-stop shop for all of this. Learn more in this feature.
Searching online.
It's what most of us do every day. Information is the world's new currency, and the provision of quality information is what is setting businesses, governments, and even countries apart. And when we search, we're looking for information that is accurate, easy to understand, and relevant. And we expect to get there in 3 clicks. The Jamaican public sector is delivering numerous services every day to clients locally and abroad. Clients who cannot afford to waste neither time nor money searching through hard-to-find information. Introducing gov.jm, the gateway that will become the single online space for accessing information on government services in a way that is simple and seamless. Through the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, PSTM, gov.jm is placing the needs of our clients at the center. By placing vast government information in one place, we are making it easier, faster, and simpler for our clients and potential clients to get the information they need, when they need it, and how they need it. For the potential investor or visitor to Jamaica, the ability to find information easily can make the difference between a decision to invest in Jamaica or somewhere else. To start, we found those everyday services in highest demand, the ones Jamaicans locally and in the diaspora frequently need. We took the services non-residents and investors frequently need, and we've started by creating a gateway to those services online. Gov.jm will allow those seeking to do business with government to find what they need faster. Whether you want to know how to apply for a passport, pay taxes online, register a business, or find out your health benefits under the Health Fund program, information is grouped so that the user knows where to go right away, whether he's a resident, non-resident, or an investor. And this is the kind of information, the kind of service that will gain Jamaica international rankings for e-government. We're still at the early stages. The gateway currently now indexes some of the services available online and provides clear navigation to them. But gov.jm will never stop evolving. It is the customer feedback about information they need that will guide the evolution of gov.jm. Over time, we'll work to bring more and more services online and create a standard online schema for all government websites. Gov.jm, the new gateway to government information and services. The search is over.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, also known as CPR, is a life-saving technique we can use in the event an individual suffers a heart attack, near drowning, stops breathing, or the heart stops for any reason. Now, as a good Samaritan bystander, you could apply your knowledge of CPR, but we must first know what to do. Join me in taking this life-saving lesson.
Oscar! Oscar! Oscar!
Though this is a dramatization, it has happened quite often. In the field, at home, or at work, a loved one collapses and is unresponsive. What follows? Usually chaos, confusion, heartache. Instead of immediately providing that critical resuscitation technique which may prevent death.
CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is a skill that is an emergency skill that is used to revive someone whose heart has stopped beating. Cardiac arrest can happen to anyone at any time. In the event that happens, you need to know the skills that you need to perform to revive these persons or give these persons a chance of survival.
We never know when we'll be in a situation where we need to help someone else. It's really just a little bit of your time, and I think it would be a worthwhile investment in learning these skills so we can render assistance.
Even when someone is choking, the techniques learned in CPR may be applied to save that person from asphyxiation. To release the person's airway, position yourself behind them and clasp your fist at the navel and roll in an upward motion. When someone is unresponsive, that's a whole other ballgame. The person may become unresponsive for several reasons. For instance, they could have a medical condition. To really know if someone is unresponsive and in need of CPR,
tap the person's shoulder and shout, "Sir, sir, sir," or "Ma'am, are you okay?" Once the person is not responding to you, and they can respond in several forms. They can answer by moaning, they can groan, they can open their eyes, they can move a limb. If the person is not responding to you, now you need to scan the chest and look if you see breathing. Once the person is not breathing, their terms as being unresponsive. So once you have somebody collapsing, the first thing you need to do is check your environment, ensure that your environment is safe for you. Once the environment is safe, now you need to assess the person who has collapsed. Once someone is unresponsive, has no signs of life, call for help and bare the person's chest. So you remove their upper garments. Find your hand position. It's on the lower half, center of the chest, lower half of the breastbone, and you push in 30 times at the Bee Gees song, that's Staying Alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. If you are trained, after 30 compressions, you can give 2 breaths. If you are not trained, you don't know about CPR, you give hands-only CPR. So hands-only CPR is where you compresses the chest. You need to continue that on the way to the hospital, so you're maintaining cells life.
it's possible for anyone and everyone to learn CPR.
Nannies, construction workers, teachers, lawyers, doctors, everyone should learn CPR. Once you're able-bodied, you can learn CPR.
In terms of age, it's said as young as 12 years old can learn the art to save a life.
So many times, children get in situations that they need assistance. In fact, a cousin of mine, her son got into some distress. She realized that he wasn't breathing one day, and she was able to help him by giving him CPR. So I think that was really important that she had those skills so that she could assist her son, because who knows what would have happened if she wasn't able to give him that immediate assistance.
This course, I've done it before, and I find it very interesting because I work a lot with children, and one time I have to do a CPR on a little boy because there was leave under my care. And mother wasn't around, and he was eating some plum and playing on like plum seed, stabbing his throat, and I just hear him coughing, but it never very severe because he was coughing. So when he was coughing, I hold him up and I, try to do a little, I understand the CPR, tell him to cough, and he cough and cough until it actually come up.
I had a patient once, and while I was there in the bathroom with that person, the person just fell unconscious, and I was there, didn't know exactly what to do, but I was there saying, "Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't know much, what to do, but I decided to put the person on the side, and I was there trying to stop the person, Then I was saying to myself, if I had known CPR well enough, I could perform it.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is one of the several local organizations that offer training in CPR.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is an authorized training center for the American Heart Association. We offer CPR training for medical and non-medical persons. We have our scheduled in-house training, and organization can call us to schedule classes at their convenience.
CPR!
Diabetes is a common illness. Most of us may be aware of its various complications, such as diabetic retinopathy and neuropathy, diabetic kidney disease, and so on. But when it comes to deaths caused from diabetes, cardiovascular complications account for the majority. Diabetes is recognized as one of 4 major factors for developing cardiovascular disease, the others being hypertension, obesity, and cigarette smoking.
About 68% of persons over the age of 65, and this is data now from the American Heart Association, 65% of persons over the age of 65 who have diabetes will die from heart disease, and about another 16% will die of stroke.
Before we take a look at how to manage or even prevent cardiovascular complications of diabetes, let us look at how persons come to develop the disease.
In a nutshell, what generally happens is that diabetic persons have a more rapid rate at which fat and cholesterol is deposited in the arterial system. So we all have that. It's considered part of the process of aging. Fat and cholesterol is being laid down in our arteries. However, diabetic persons tend to have that happen at a more rapid rate, okay? And as a result of that, what tends to happen is that diabetic persons will progress to a point where they have compromised vessels. So in other words, the lumen, the diameter of the vessel, is narrowed, the flow of blood is limited.
And as the heart muscles become starved of blood, various acids accumulate and persons will tend to experience what is called angina, or a type of chest pain.
You may get complete blockage of the vessel, which may now result in what is called a heart attack.
Heart tissues are not meant to function in an environment where the blood sugar level is elevated. And so, another incidence of diabetic cardiovascular complication results where high blood sugar levels in persons who are diabetic becomes directly toxic to heart cells. This impairs the ability of blood vessels to open normally under conditions of stress, such as exercise, and also causes inflammation and impaired clotting of the blood.
So if they're chronically exposed to those levels of elevated blood sugars, then there are biochemical consequences. There's weakness of the heart muscle, and patients, many of them, go on to developing heart failure and so on.
The diagnosis of cardiovascular complications is more difficult in diabetics, where the symptoms appear unclear or may be different from the non-diabetic patient. Take, for example, a non-diabetic person with, say, coronary heart disease.
Generally, they will say, well, look, doc, I felt pressing pain to the center of my chest. It's moving down my left arm. It comes on with activity. It stops when I stop engaging in whatever activity. It feels like a weight or like a pressure, like a squeezing sensation, and it's associated with other things like shortness of breath and so on. Diabetics, however, have a particular problem because they have damage to the nerves, and therefore they may not actually experience chest pain at all. If they do, it may not be the typical angina which we would normally expect a patient to describe. Okay, so oftentimes diabetic patients who are having cardiovascular disease will say that, doc, I just feel a little funny sensation in my chest, a little discomfort, I just feel short of breath, or I'm walking up the stairs, or I'm running after my grandkids and I find that I'm just out of breath.
The rest of the diagnostic process, however, is similar and may include an echocardiogram, ECG, blood works, or various stress tests accessible at public health facilities and at the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. Generally, diabetic patients will have elevated blood sugars in their urine, which, if identified, serves as a red flag and need for more specific testing. A urinalysis or urine dipstick test is generally done as part of school medicals, oftentimes as a screening test for diabetes. As with every illness, early detection and prevention is key to having good health.
It would be good every year for every person to be checked. If you're diabetic, you would have been told how often you need to check your blood sugar by your health professional. But if you're just doing checks and you're healthy otherwise, then at least once a year to check your cholesterol, your sugar, your blood pressure, do your ECG to see if there is any abnormality in the heart.
The treatment of cardiovascular disease in diabetic patients is more holistic, involving lifestyle changes to include diet, exercise, and maintaining a healthy weight.
In a nutshell, we advocate for, eating primarily fruits and vegetables, things like whole grains and nuts, limiting one's intake of fast foods, foods with high fat content, high cholesterol, salt, and so on, and portion size management as well.
More unprocessed foods, less of the very refined high sugar foods. So there are those foods that are obviously very high in sugar. So the typical recommendation, if you look at a plate, half of the plate should be more plant-based foods, leafy vegetables, and some fruit.
In general, 150 minutes minimum per week of moderate exercise such as swimming, brisk walking, jogging or cycling is recommended. Besides the lifestyle changes, clinical treatment through prescription drugs and surgical procedures is an important element in caring for persons with cardiovascular complications of diabetes.
We have medications to address symptoms, we have medications to prolong life. And that forms an important part of the approach. There are a variety of procedures which diabetic patients and other non-diabetic patients may qualify for, or it may be necessary to pursue. So we speak of things like stenting, for example, coronary artery bypass grafting, which is of course open heart surgery, major surgery. Diabetic patients we have a lower threshold for referring diabetics for that kind of procedure just because of the severity of their disease.
Medications developed primarily for use by diabetic patients have been shown to have significant cardiovascular benefits as they reduce the risk of death and complications related to cardiovascular disease in diabetic patients. But with most of them still under patent, access is quite costly. Your best treatment option is to adopt healthy lifestyle practices that make you less prone to developing diabetes or cardiovascular disease.
On the board this week, the Joseph Assignment Global Initiative will have its back-to-school drive and health fair on Wednesday, August 28 at the Riverton City Multipurpose Center on Spanish Town Road. The event starts at 11 a.m. For more information, call 876-622-5990 or email the Joseph Assignment Utility at gmail.com. Still on our community notice board, the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs is now accepting applications for the 2020 Mexican Government Scholarship Program for international students. The scholarship is open to individuals interested in undertaking master's and doctoral degrees and other academic programs at institutions of higher learning in Mexico. Applications for Jamaican nationals must be submitted online through the Academic Cooperation Management System no later than September 27, 2019 at 3 p.m. local time in Mexico. Candidates may contact the Embassy's Cooperation Department at 876-926-4242 or by electronic mail at culturejm@sre.gov.mx. Also on the notice board this week, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, ahead of its 10th National Health Research Conference in November, is accepting research abstracts in the following areas: mental health, nutrition, best practices, advances in medicine, and sickle cell disease. Abstracts should not exceed 250 words and should be submitted via email to nhrc-abstracts@moh.gov.jm by 4 p.m. on Friday, September 20, 2019 for consideration by the Conference Secretariat. And that's all for our community notices this Saturday. If you have something to share on our notice board, then give us a call at 876-922-8680 or email cbishop@jis.gov.jm or kferguson@jis.gov.jm.
We've come to the close of Jamaica Magazine for today. We hope you've been enlightened and ask that you join us again tomorrow for more. But until then, continue to watch these and other programs by logging on to our website, jis.gov.jm, or by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
You're watching Business Access TV. Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to the 2019 Sterling Asset Management Investor Briefing being held under the theme, Is Export-Led Growth Right for Jamaica? Hi, I'm Elon Parkinson. Let's stay for the highlights.
Before we get into some hard-hitting questions, I want to give each person on the panel just 2 minutes, a strict 2 minutes, to tell us their outlook on what's going on. Our theme this evening is the role of monetary policy in driving export-driven growth. We'll get into that a bit more in more detail later, but right now I wanted to give each gentleman a chance to give us their outlook on the economy, what's been going on, and a chance to air some of what they think is most important.
Bank of Jamaica is focused now on building the wherewithal, the infrastructure, the methodologies of entrenching low, stable, and predictable inflation. That has been a missing factor for much of our history, and over the last 10 years, with a series of reforms, we've worked to get to where we are now, where inflation is fairly predictable, the external accounts are sustainable, the fiscal accounts are in great shape, the debt is falling. What we need now is the infrastructure that can entrench low and stable inflation as a long-term expectation. And that's critical to our growth prospects. It's critical to how investors behave, if they can predict the future with some certainty. It's critical to the exchange rate behavior. It's critical to maintaining a competitive exchange rate, which is a critical factor in export-led growth.
I mean, what I would say is, at this particular juncture, there is a lot of discussion about Jamaica exiting from IMF financial support. Maybe I could take the 2.5 minutes to say what does that mean for us or for the Jamaican people. For us, it means that the financial leg of our operation in Jamaica ends, but that's only one of the functions that the IMF performs as an institution. So we do lend to countries, that's one. But the 2 other legs will remain, because what we also do is that we do coach countries how to run policies, how to reform the tax administration, a wide range of issues. So we think of ourselves as coach. We also think of us, we are very ambitious, so we also think of ourselves as doctor. So we visit our 189 member countries to do what we call health check, even if there is no program, even if we don't have a lending agreement with those countries, we do visit them annually to perform health check and offer our advice on policies. And you will be surprised to learn that the latest data show that in 2018, lending was only 14%, 1/4 of IMF resources. The other 86% went to coaching countries and to doing the health check of those countries. So after the IMF program finished and towards the end of this year, the partnership between Jamaica and the IMF will remain. And as a matter of fact, the IMF office will remain open. So all the pillars that will help Jamaica entrench the hard-won gain over the past 6 years are being put in place. You can think about the Fiscal Council that Minister Clark has been pushing for, and there is a lot of work going into that to make sure that there is a watchdog that will ensure that whichever administration comes to power, there are binding fiscal targets that would guide the conduct of fiscal policy. There is a bill in the parliament currently on ensuring that the central bank is independent enough to conduct monetary policy freely. And there are all kinds of reforms precisely to make sure that the pillars, the foundations are there for Jamaica to sustain the reform momentum that we've seen over the past few years.
Well, that's good to know that the IMF will continue its presence. And of course, we really value, I know the local analyst community really values the data that both the BOJ and the IMF do a great, great job of putting out. We base a lot of our research on that. So we'd like to express our gratitude. And Charles, can we move to you?
Right. Well, I think that the real challenge remaining for us is to transform the output of our economy and the rate of growth. I think John certainly made the point that we've made progress on the fiscal and monetary side, or at least some aspects of that, very important aspects. But I sort of think of it a bit like riding a bicycle. If you are moving very slowly, it's difficult to keep your balance. And really what we want is that we want to maintain the hard-won gains of the last few years. And I think that having a faster rate of growth will certainly help in that respect. And so this is really why I think the whole issue of the export-led growth model is certainly worthy of some discussion.
I would throw to Dr. Lonkengwano, who has had some experience in other countries, and you referenced, Charles, an export-led growth model. Can you maybe tell us, Dr. Lonkengwano, is this model appropriate for Jamaica? And if so, what are maybe 2 prerequisites that you think would, and I'm sure there are many things that need to be in place, but if you would identify the 2 most impactful ones, what would you say they are?
Yeah, I think I will draw on a story to relate to that question. The Jamaican Manufacturer and Exporter Association, from time to time, they do this tour. So they visit one firm to look at their processes. It's a tour that I like to join because you have hands-on experience of what the firm goes through on a day-to-day basis. And during one of those tours 2 years ago, I won't name the firm, but it's a firm that is in business of spice, making spice, exporting to the US. So on the side, I asked the CFO, what is your most binding constraint? Is it the demand, that you don't have enough demand for your product? Or is it more supply in terms of running your operations? The answer was so striking. He said, no, the demand is there. The US market, I can barely scratch the surface. So the demand is not an issue because I'm looking outward. So I'm not looking about, I'm not looking at the 2.8 million people in Jamaica. I have a larger market and the demand is there. So I don't face any constraint on that side. I asked, okay, why don't you expand if the demand is there? And he said, interest rates are very high. But that was 2 years ago. I need to go and talk to him again.
Another talk.
To figure out, because BOJ has been busy cutting interest rates.
Yeah.
And just to find out what is the state of affairs now, but the sense is that access to finance was a big issue then, and I understand it's still an issue. Because of the, part of it is the business model of financial institutions, which were understandably used to running on government papers because government debt was very high. But now that the government is paying down the debt, banks are flush with cash, and the question is, how do you unleash that to finance private sector activity? So that's one constraint, I would say, access to finance to allow firms to expand beyond Jamaican borders, because as a firm, given also the digital revolution, your market is not confined to Jamaica. So that's one. The second thing I asked him, I kind of pushed him, what else? So he said, US consumer, he said, I'm using the word that he's used, allergic to price increase. He said, basically my price is I can't dream of any price increase in the US market, which you will understand, right? Because inflation there is 1-2%. So there is no scope to increase your price. And what he told me was that the only margin that he has in terms of managing its cost increase and so on is the exchange rate. Because he get the same price in US. So for him to meet its increased cost locally, which by the way includes security costs to fight crime, right? You need a lot of security officers. It's only if the exchange rate depreciates. Because when the exchange rate depreciates for him, bringing back those US dollars from his sales means a lot of Jamaican dollar that he can then pay people, pay the security stuff, and so on. So exchange rate, I don't want to say exchange rate policy because there is no really such thing as exchange rate policy, but your monetary policy framework is part of the equation. And as Sir John just mentioned, the bank is very busy trying to entrench a low, stable, and predictable environment. So I believe, inflation targeting is certainly the monetary policy framework that would kind of foster this type of export-led growth. So those are maybe two critical pillars: access to finance in terms of allowing those small businesses to innovate and reach wider market because they need to scale up. And then, the whole notion of monetary policy framework, having a framework that preserves what economists call price competitiveness, because you have to be competitive at all times. If your local costs are high, you need your exchange rate to shelter you against that so you can remain competitive on external market, because that's how people choose where to buy from. They choose based on the cost.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Deputy Governor Robinson, I of course had an icebreaker, easier question for you at first, but after Dr. Lankengwana's point, I must ask you a few things. One is, are you happy with the rate of growth of credit to the private sector based on what you have been seeing? And I know that the central bank's remit has nothing to do with the actual systems through which the money gets lent, but do you think banks are doing enough?
Well, one of the effects that we expect from our cumulative relaxation of policy is an acceleration in the rate of growth of credit. Not distinguishing at the origin between personal and business. But we believe that if banks expand credit broadly, then that is a mechanism through which domestic demand can pick up and growth can occur. We understand, or we have seen a pickup in growth in credit over the past 2 years. We're running now at about 15% year over year, which is much faster than we have been accustomed to.
That's good to know.
We think there is scope for even faster expansion. Banks are liquid, there is demand, there is a shortage of other assets, and the return on very safe assets is very low. So there's a great incentive for banks to find good credits and to expand their book. We're not reckless about expansion at all costs. There is another side to this, which is about bubbles, about credit risk, about the search for yields which go beyond due care. And we cannot afford a repeat of some of the issues that we've faced in the past. So while we are promulgating a very accommodative monetary policy, we are mindful of the need to maintain credit quality and the need for a lot of that credit, where possible, to go towards business expansion. We don't direct credit. So who the banks choose to lend to depends on their assessment of projects, depends on growth sectors, prospects, and so on. But if there's a generalized response to very low, relatively low interest rates and an outlook for an accommodative monetary policy, this is one of the foundations on which we can spur faster domestic demand and growth. I just want to touch back on one of the points Constance made about the exchange rate. We've spent a lot of time correcting an overvalued exchange rate. Over the past 6 years or so, we have experienced a real depreciation of about 1.8% a year.
Wow.
Which has helped to correct a long period of overvaluation, which was measured at about the time the program started. This right sizing, right valuation of the real exchange rate is one of the foundations on which an export sector can grow. An overvalued exchange rate favors imports and acts as a disincentive for exporters to invest more in expanding their business. The person who is relying on the exchange rate to recover costs that he experiences locally, who then finds that there is a tendency towards overvaluation, cannot recover those costs that, as Dr. Longking says, is needed if you can't adjust your prices abroad. So a fairly valid exchange rate built on a flexible exchange rate system is one of the key pillars for favoring an export-led growth policy.
100%. I'm very glad you touched on that, Deputy Governor Robinson, and I'll give Charles an opportunity to, I know he has strong views on this, and there are also countries all over the world, to your point, that have employed similar strategies. Charles, I don't know if you want to touch on a few case studies.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could mention, several, beginning with, of course, Japan and Germany in the 60s, Singapore, South Korea in the 70s, China since then. But one of the things that I wanted to throw out to both Constance and John is that, that whole notion of the inflation differential, because it really is what how the markets ultimately adjust. And Constance's point about exporters being price takers, it really means that the extent to which our inflation rate is higher than that of our major trading partners like the US and so on, then you almost have to automatically expect that level of adjustment in the exchange rate on an annual basis, on average. I don't know how we condition the country to accept that. But, and of course, the other thing that we have to accept is that markets very often overshoot. If the inflation differential is 3%, it doesn't mean that there's going to be exactly a 3% adjustment. It may be 5, it may be 4, it may be 6, it may be 2. But, there has to be that adjustment in order to maintain the competitiveness. And I think the other thing we have to accept is that it's better for the rate to be a little undervalued, because that provides an extra incentive rather than overvalued and provide a disincentive and a penalty for exporters.
All of what you're saying, all three of you, seems to be very sound economic logic. But for some reason, the broad society has not generally, and of course, as reflected in the media, generally is not accepting of these principles. Are Jamaicans too obsessed with the exchange rate? Are we looking at the wrong metrics? And why? Why would that be the case?
So maybe let me start where Charles left. The whole notion of inflation differential, that if you're running inflation higher than your trade partners, in order to maintain your competitiveness, your exchange rate will have to close the gap so that you can be, you don't come across as too costly. Right? So when you start from that point, it's very clear that eventually, so there are two components. There is a medium, what we call medium to long term, not day-to-day movement. So over the medium term, like on average per year, your depreciation will be the inflation differential. Let's take a very simple example. The Fed target 2% inflation, and the Bank of Jamaica target 5%. So if they all meet their target, the exchange rate will have to depreciate by 3% to close that gap. And that's over the medium term, not every day. Because what happened on a daily basis is that one day, you'll have a lot of people wanting US dollar for some reason, just timing of their imports, because they need the US to import, and less people supplying because there are maybe few tourists came that day or whatever. So at each point in time, you wouldn't expect that to hold. You wouldn't expect that inflation differential to be a daily thing, because even inflation numbers are released once a month. So. And those markets, in economics, there are always transitions where things overshoot, undershoot, but then eventually there is autocorrection. That's just how the mechanics works, right? So on a daily basis, if there are more people wanting the US dollar than people supplying the US dollar, the price of the US dollar will go up. It's a commodity like any other commodity. And if there are fewer people wanting the US dollar and more people supplying, well, the price of the US dollar will go down, which is an exchange rate appreciation. So you wouldn't expect on a day-to-day basis that the exchange rate will move with inflation differential. But eventually, market forces will take you to that level that is compatible with the inflation differential. And the Bank of Jamaica has been very busy making sure that the day-to-day movements are not subject to distortions. So it should be market-based in terms of making sure that market participants have the information flow. The market is very transparent, and I'm sure Surgeon will speak about the BFIX-IT, the mechanism that they put in place to make sure that the market function well. Because what you want on the market, any market, is that demand and supply meet. And you don't stand in the middle of the demand and supply. And eventually, the correction will take place, and you will expect the exchange rate to move with the inflation differential.
Thank you. And Governor Robinson?
Well, two things I would emphasize, as Constant just did, the importance of low inflation. We're building a whole infrastructure to entrench that, from the legislative changes through to our now world-famous communication efforts,
Yes.
our training, our modeling, our whole organizational structure is being modified to take us to full-fledged inflation targeting as an operating framework. What we want to assure Jamaicans is that we have the organizational ability to reliably deliver on our mandate. So we're being given a core mandate, deliver inflation according to the target that is set for you. Communicate what you see ahead. You will be free to adjust policy to meet that goal. But over time, we want everybody to hold you accountable for that outcome. And once that track record is established, then people will adjust their expectations accordingly. We will have entrenched low, stable, and predictable inflation, which is the one part of the equation which was being discussed, the inflation differential and expectations. Flexibility can be uncomfortable at times. If the rate doesn't move at all, then consumers feel happiest. They do. I mean, if you ask anybody who has to import a lot, what worries you the most? And it's usually the fact that the exchange rate may move against me by the time I have to pay for the goods that I've imported. Having an environment where these changes become more flexible, more predictable, more firmly based on the policy intentions of the authorities, I think people will adopt and adapt their behavior accordingly. There will be no certainty on a given day what the exchange rate will be. But if inflation is managed reliably and predictably at a low level, then we can, over time, expect no more than a certain rate of adjustment, and we can build products that can hedge against those expectations. So building an environment of stable domestic prices, building a system of exchange of foreign currency that is transparent, that is market-based, and which increasingly will become more accessible by end users. And I'll talk a little bit later about the trading platform that we're putting in place. But these foundations, monetary stability and exchange rate flexibility, will lead to a maintenance of competitiveness, which then leads to a more promising environment for export growth and growth.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round-view monitor, and Hill Start Assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
In their recent Article 4 IMF report, they suggested that, maybe suggested is a strong word, but they outlined that, persistent unscheduled interventions in the FX market could have unintended consequences, so to speak. And my question to you is, does the Bank of Jamaica intend to continue to use the flash sale mechanism in the future, or will we be, as we get better at predicting the demand and supply, will BFIXit be used more regularly?
Well, BFIXit is a kind of halfway house. It's a step towards an eventual system of fairly free trading among dealers with end users on an electronic platform.
Okay.
What we've tried to introduce in this midway stage is to accustom dealers to help discover what the prices are in the market through competitive bidding for amounts that we sell during periods of shortages. We have had instances or episodes where we've been buying, but that has those left a sour aftertaste in the minds of market players because they thought we were buying at too high a rate. But BFIXit was meant to give notice and to sell into the market based on information supplied by dealers. So if they say at the end of June we see 20 million globally, then we will give notice that we will sell all or some of that into the market around that time. And that gave the assurance that dealers could fill orders from positions knowing that additional liquidity will come to the market then. It has led to an expectation of smoothing, which I think is not the intention of our liquidity injections. The market has matured some more. and it will mature further as we move to more electronic trading. Currently, the market is testing a platform produced by Bloomberg, which allows them to view quotes among themselves, not to consummate trades online, but enough discovery among the players so that any dealer, yourself, can look online and see what every other dealer is selling and what amounts. We hope by the first quarter of next year to introduce our own platform, custom built for Jamaica, where players, dealers, can look at quotes, strike deals, and settle seamlessly through the BOJ accounts. So BFIX, it was just a kind of halfway house. And we do subscribe to the recommendation that we not intervene too frequently or too heavily unless it's really disorderly. We have enough reserves, so we're not buying aggressively, and we're not seeking to support a particular exchange rate. So we intervene during periods of disorder, and those have become fewer.
Right.
There's more tolerance for flexibility. So there's less of a panic now when the rate moves by, 10, 20 cents, $1. That never used to be the case. So there's growing tolerance for flexibility. There is growing dependence on price discovery across the market. And soon there will be more seamless trading in a more modern environment.
The Bank of Jamaica governor, who has so far conducted the arrangements made by the IMF, as it were. How long is it the program will exist? And if so, why is it that the Bank of Jamaica is not encouraged to continue to finalize that project? That's a question to you and the IMF.
Can I clarify, seek some clarification?
Yes.
You're saying that...
It's not political.
I would have spotted it. No, but you seem to be unclear whether the program of reforms will continue after the IMF exits its financial relationship.
I'm not saying that. I'm just asking whether you have a program, a period for that program. Things have worked so well that the IMF, in fact, has said, congratulate the Bank of Jamaica for supporting the program. I'm asking what period, what is left of the program, and why wouldn't it be that the IMF would encourage the Bank of Jamaica governor to continue for that period to ensure that all that were planned have been effected?
Well,
the question.
The program that we're under, the precautionary standby arrangement, is virtually over.
Oh, it is?
Yes. There were no drawings under this program. The commitments were precautionary. If there had been a problem, a shock, we would have been eligible to draw down funds which IMF pre-committed. That wasn't necessary. We continued a program of reforms, and the performance under this last 2-3 years has been exemplary. We are institutionalizing those reforms on the fiscal side, on the monetary side, on the structural transformations, so that whether or not there is a financial backstop, available on demand, we would have put in place sufficient procedures, institutional arrangements to continue these reforms into the future. So I don't think you're referring particularly to any one person as necessary.
No, there can be one person.
Right.
But there's a head.
But there is a set of arrangements which are sustainable. And I think this transition is just an example of how well things can work without external support.
So maybe very quickly, 2 quick points on that. Number one, I like it to be called what it is. It's the government of Jamaica's economic reform program. It's not an IMF program. We're just tagging along. These are sacrifices of the Jamaican people. This success is for the Jamaican, it has been on the back of hard sacrifice by the Jamaican people. So the credit goes to the Jamaicans. So the Jamaicans. It's not an IMF program, it's an IMF-supported program. And this is one of the reasons why the program has been so successful, because the program has been owned by the Jamaican successive administration. It has been owned by the Jamaican people. That's one. Number two, we like to think about these reforms as institutions driving them, not individuals. I mean, individuals are part of the institutions, but you don't want a system, you want a system where there is continuity. And one of the other reasons why the reform program has been so successful in Jamaica, and we haven't seen it in many places around the world, is that you had a change in administration, and the reform program, the broad parameter of the reform program remain unchanged. So there is the so-called policy continuity, which is so critical for investors, because one of the key elements that investors will be looking at is policy certainty. How much you can project yourself 5, 10 years down the road. It's not when you're investing today, it's not a 1 year, 2 year return you're looking at. You're looking at medium to long term. So we believe this is, the institutional platform is there to support any kinds of transition.
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. The new Suzuki Vitara.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business. The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and they say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We've heard so much from the Sterling Asset Management investor briefing, certainly the perspectives of the IMF chief representative, along with Charles Ross and the BOJ governor. Charles joins us now to go into a little bit more into something that you said earlier about us having the real challenge of transforming output, which is of course a key part of creating faster economic growth. How close are we to getting that right?
Well, Elon, that is absolutely the multi-million-dollar question. And the reason that we had this theme this evening was really to explore that. Because at the end of the day, economic growth is what's going to lift our standard of living, is what's going to make everybody better off, is what's going to provide the resources for vital social services, infrastructure, etc. And unfortunately, we've made great progress in bringing down our debt and improving the fiscal balance, bringing down inflation, but we haven't been able to significantly increase economic growth. And so that really was the central theme of this evening's discussion.
So, for our viewers watching right now and saying, look, I want to get into exports, because that was essentially the theme of this evening's presentation. Where are the green shoots? Where are the opportunities? Point us.
Well, that's again another multi-million-dollar question. But as John Robinson mentioned, there has been a bit of a real adjustment in the exchange rate over the last few years, and that has provided some incentive for export-led investment. And we are seeing manufacturers in the food processing, agri-processing, agriculture, in that area, we are seeing some interest and some increases in export activity. However, as one of the people who asked questions in the Q&A pointed out, the volatility in the exchange rate, the movements up and down, which has recently become a feature of the foreign exchange market, that poses certain challenges for the exporters, because the 7% movement means the difference between profit and loss. So there are still issues, but I think that with the right signals from macroeconomic policy, the right sort of pricing, if you like, of the exchange rate, that will provide a significant boost to export activity.
Where this problem obtains in other parts of the world, has there been any kind of sector-led intervention to assist exporters? I'm talking now about finance houses like yourself coming up with products that could hopefully hedge against that eventuality for exporters.
Well, I tell you, one of the challenges with hedging is that you need to have the unimpeded, if you like, impact of market forces. And one of the challenges that we have is that we still have interventions by the central bank, so that really it's going to be very difficult to develop the sort of hedging mechanisms when you have periodic interventions by the central bank which have a major impact on movements in the exchange rate. And so you're not able to use the mathematical models which are inherent in these hedging instruments, because you're not really having the full impact of market forces. And you do have these periodic interventions which almost present discontinuities in the data and the data sets. And that therefore makes it very difficult to price the hedging instruments that you'd find in developed markets or markets where there is less intervention and a more free interplay of market forces. So that's one of the challenges that we have. Really, we need to develop more of a pure market in terms of the foreign exchange market so that institutions can develop these hedging mechanisms, I guess, without taking undue risk.
Much of what you heard earlier when it comes on to the discourse at the 2019 Sterling Asset Management Investor Briefing focused on the Bank of Jamaica's role in inflation targeting and how it has been managing the issue of the interest rates as well as the foreign exchange rate, primarily the Jamaican dollar versus the US dollar. I have with me the Senior Deputy Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, John Robinson. And you acquitted of yourself very well there earlier when the volley of questions came to you about the BOJ's policy. The BOJ's policy, though, is one that you have advertised, is one that you have tried to socialize the Jamaican public and indeed the world. It was picked up by an overseas network as to your marketing campaign around what I like to describe as monetary knowledge. How has the campaign been going and what's the reaction been like?
Well, it has been phenomenal. The coverage we've got, I've never seen any central bank get that kind of coverage on advertising their mandates. What we've set out to do is to make Jamaica, firstly Jamaica, aware of what our mandate is. What do we care about? What do we want to do for them? And we want them to know about inflation. We want them to know that we are focused on keeping inflation low and stable, and that we are organizing ourselves to maintain that for a long time to come. A lot of people, even the word inflation may be new to them. So it has been a big campaign to teach people what inflation is, why they should care about it, how we go about controlling it, and what it will do for their way of life. We've used music, and that has taken off. We've used drama. We've done seminars. We're doing every possible outlet to get the message across. Soon you'll see billboards. You'll see video. You'll see more. But we want everybody to be aware of what BOJ does, what it cares about, and what it means for them.
And as people become aware of that, what's the call to action then? They now know what do they do as a result of having that knowledge?
Once they understand that inflation, their experience with prices going forward is something they can predict, then it leads into how they negotiate wages, what they think of as being a good price for a future product, and it allows them to plan their lives a lot better. So it's about predictable prices, and which are low enough not to hurt them in their way of standard of living.
We consider our next guest an honorary Jamaican. He's the IMF's country representative, Dr. Constant Lonken Nguana. Welcome. And I say that to you because you have been all over talking about this economic program that's in tandem with the Jamaican government. And it's a partnership that has clearly worked well. Your short review of where we are, of course, we're in the evening of the agreement, but how has it turned out?
I'm happy to be associated with such a successful turnaround. I think it's fair to say that the Jamaicans have really turned the economy around, and You can look across the board what macroeconomists tend to look at in terms of indicator of success. Look at macroeconomic stability being entrenched, public debt, going from 147% in 2013 to now about 95%. Amazing. And this is without handout from anyone. This is really the Jamaicans taking the decision to put their fiscal house in order. So a lot of policy commitment from successive administration. So policy continuity is something that is highly valued by investors and by consumers. A lot of maturity in the economy. What we would like to see some more, and that's what the government and the people of Jamaica are working on, to get some more growth. But we should not also dismiss the fact that the Jamaican economy has grown for 16 consecutive quarters, which is not something that you've seen a lot in the past. And also over the past quarters, you will have seen grow around 2%, which is almost unprecedented in Jamaica. So there is a lot of positive, a lot more to do, especially on the growth side. And we're very upbeat about what we see on the ground.
You've just seen some truly thought-provoking insight, analyses, and commentary from the 2019 Sterling Asset Management Investor Briefing. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elon Parkinson for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and Hill Start Assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a Season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I am Jackie Tyson, and you're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
On this episode of Chill Spot, we'll be enjoying the thrill and excitement of the outdoors at Chukka Caribbean Adventure Tours as we get to know Dr. Kevin Henry, obstetrician and gynecologist. So don't go anywhere, the fun begins now. Hi guys, hi Kevin,
Kelly.
good to see you.
How are you?
I'm fine.
This is my friend Che.
Hi Che, nice to meet you. So how was the drive down?
It was good, it was pretty long, but I mean we're here, you know. Do you have a new ride?
Yes, my Toyota Hilux. This is a fully loaded model, and on the drive down it's like I didn't need anything else. It's a perfect vehicle and it rides so nicely.
Oh, it looks really, really
yeah,
good.
nice, smooth ride. Yeah, the color is nice in the red.
Yeah.
So, Chukka Tours.
Yeah.
What are we going to be doing today?
Well, it should be a fun day, you know, lots of adventure. We're going to be doing some zip lining, we're going to do the ATV tour.
Okay.
And then we'll just chill, have lunch, and relax.
Personally, I'm not excited about the zipline thing. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be
Shit,
fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be so fast and I can't.
No, man, it's going to be fun. First time doing it?
Well, it's actually my first time at Chukka. So I've ziplined before, but I've never ziplined here. This one is longer,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's a little bit more intense.
Gosh,
it's a little bit more intense. Get
So,
that adrenaline rush.
let's start. Where are we going to start?
Let's go.
So Dane, talk to us about Chukka Tours and the history of the brand.
Chukka has been around for over 30 years. We started in Ocho Rios
Okay.
with our signature tour, which is a horseback ride and swim. But since then, Chukka had expanded its brands to 3 different Caribbean islands, and we have over 28 different tours here.
How
on this
many
island.
properties do you have in Jamaica?
We have 9 properties in total in Jamaica, this being one of the largest here
Right.
in Good Hope.
So what other tours? I mean, Kevin already mentioned that we're going to be doing zip lining and ATVing today, but what other tours can people do on this property?
There's an obstacle course where you can test your skills up there, the different types of elements. We have river tubing. We also have a horse and carriage ride for those persons who want to stay away from a lot of the thrill and just kind of relax.
Right.
And not to mention the dune buggy.
Well, the horse and carriage sounds perfect for me because I'm really not into the adrenaline thing at all and not excited about this zip lining thing, but I know it will be fun, right guys?
Of course it will be. So that's a good thing. We have something here for everyone.
So what about the future plans for this property? What do you guys have in store for 2016 and beyond?
Now, Chukka, with the nature of the business that we're in, the company always try to expand to please its customers.
Right.
So we cater for those persons that are looking for the thrill, those who want that cultural explorer, and those persons
Like
who just
myself.
want to come here and relax at the pool, a leisure type of person.
Oh, there's a pool on property as well?
There is a pool on property.
Oh,
There's also a
fantastic.
nice bird aviary, so.
Oh, a bird aviary. Oh, interesting, interesting.
Now, for this property in particular, we are looking at expanding to include some of the historic buildings that are here, which would be on the other side of this property.
Okay.
So there's a lot more to come, and as I said before, Chukka continues to grow and to please its customer out there based on their demand.
Okay, fantastic. Well, with no further ado, I think we should head inside and get this thing started. Coming up.
It is really, really rewarding to be able to help people. Being in a position to bring somebody who is sick back to full health, it's something that I really love to do and that I enjoy.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this. No more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Kevin, how was that zip line for you?
It was fun, you know. Oh, you're so afraid of the thing, man.
I'm telling you, that's not for TV either, no, that's genuinely me. I don't like
that was really fun. That was really fun.
It really was. So we want to talk a little about your professional side.
Sure.
You're a practicing medical doctor.
I am.
And did you know that you always wanted to pursue medicine?
I think from an earlier age, I knew that I wanted to do something medically related. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a vet initially. And then somewhere along the line, that transitioned and changed into, you know, being a doctor. So when I was in high school, I decided, I think that this is what I want to do.
And are you specializing right now?
Yes, I am. I do obstetrics and gynecology.
So I understand that the process to become a doctor at UA is a long one. I know you guys have exams and residency. Explain to us how that all works.
Okay, so when you leave high school, right, having done the required usual science subjects, you start your medical career, your medical program at UA. That process is 5 years. After that, you'll graduate with your medical degree, which means you're a doctor now. Thereafter, you have to do 1 year internship where you work in the hospital, and then after that year, you know, get your practicing certificate, so you're now licensed to go and practice and set up your own thing if you want to do your own thing.
Okay.
In order for you to do a specialty, like what I did in obstetrics and gynecology or any other specialty, you then have to do further studies, which is whilst you work. So it's not, you know, go back to school and stop everything. So you're working and getting training at the same time. And depending on what that specialty is, it can take from 4 to a million years.
I understand it would take a longer time. So for your specialty, how long did it take?
It was 4.5 years.
And then you have a final exam at the end of all of that?
We have continuous assessment throughout. So we have exams while we go along through the program. And then at the end, we have one final exam. And then once you get through that, that's it, you're done.
So all of that takes 70 years?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very
recently
much.
passed your exam.
Yes, I
so
did.
now you're officially
An obstetrician and gynecologist.
Okay, got it. So where are you currently practicing?
Well, I did my training at the University Hospital, so I'm continuing working there. And as well, I am now working privately at Gyne Associates.
And how has the experience at the University Hospital been for you?
It was a very fulfilling and rewarding experience. It was challenging at times, you know, especially with the workload and the patient demands. But overall, it was a humbling experience as well. You know, learned a lot in terms of my specialty and my field, and I'm happy now that with the training that I have, I can now go out and continue to work in the health sector, both publicly and privately. And overall, I really enjoyed it and I love what I do.
And what would you say is the best part or your favorite part about your job?
I know this is going to probably sound cliche, but really and truly, it is really, really rewarding to be able to help people, you know. Being in a position to bring somebody who is sick back to full health and, you know, in obstetrics carrying a patient through the antenatal process, you know, baby and delivery and that type of thing. It's really fulfilling and rewarding. So to be able to do that on a day-to-day basis, and as I said, it's something that I really love to do and that I enjoy. So that's what I like.
What are the challenges now with practicing medicine here in Jamaica or with your day-to-day operation?
The challenges practicing medicine, I would say, for me, are in terms of time management, right? So when you have a lot of activities to do and, you know, you have other things to attend to in terms of, you know, family time and friends, and it can be demanding. Medicine itself is a very demanding field. I think that the issues that we're facing now in Jamaica in terms of the health sector itself, as well as the financial constraints of, you know, everybody and, you know, people have no money to spend. But overall, I think that we are doing the best we can with the resources that we have, right? A lot of times it's a little bit difficult for patients to appreciate that. So when patients come to the hospital, you know, they look at things like the wait time and, you know, how attentive the doctors are, how quickly they can get their results processed, and how they're treated at the hospital. Overall, we're trying to improve, so it just requires a lot more patience and dedication on both parts.
And are there any other professional engagements that you do besides being a doctor?
Well, yes. I own or co-own a small business which does medical supplies, and I also do events. So those are my two other main activities, business-wise.
So talk to me about your medical supplies company. What's the name of it?
Well, it's White Coat Medical Supplies. It has actually been in existence for about 8 years, but me and a colleague inherited it from another partner about 2 years ago. So what we do is supply medical equipment to medical students. Medical students meaning students doing medicine, nursing, physiotherapy, that kind of thing. So that's what we're doing right now. But we do have plans to expand to do other things in terms of general medical equipment.
So is your business partner Che, who I met earlier?
Yes, it's Che.
Okay, so how do you draw the line with doing business with friends?
Well, that is something that we had established from very, very early, right? And it's very tricky with friends because, you know, you don't want to offend anybody or that type of thing, as you can imagine. But at the end of the day, it's a professional relationship. So you just have to understand that, you know, friendship is friendship and business is business. So where there are important business decisions to be made, we have to put aside the friendship part of our interaction and look at it as a business, right? So we just try not to let emotions get involved and address it professionally, right? Because that is what drives the business.
How would you describe, though, the business of medicine here in Jamaica? Would you say it's easy to open a practice? Are we heading in the right direction business-wise?
I think that in general, we have a lot of talent in Jamaica. There are a lot of trained professionals, a lot of specialists that we are putting out every year, every 6 months, right? So there definitely isn't a shortage, I would say, of specialists. The problem or the barriers to setting up businesses in Jamaica in medicine would be resources. That's the main problem. Resources both on the end of the doctor and of the patient, right? So if it is that we don't have enough resources in general as a country to be able to offer patients standard of care all the time in terms of, you know, the best equipment and the best technology and that type of thing, that can pose problematic. And then patients themselves may have difficulties paying for the treatment, right? But I do think that right now, the specialists that we have in Jamaica and the training that the doctors that are coming up, we would have adequate amount of specialists in the various areas and persons to work both in the public sector and private sector. What we need is more investment. So, you know, more resources from the public affiliates, private affiliates, overseas, that type of thing, to make business more successful right now in the medical field.
What would you say drives you to succeed as a young professional?
I like to work hard. I like to get the job done. I like to be effective in whatever it is that I do. I think that I am a stickler for attention to detail. I like when things are done properly and timely. That's my main motivator, that's my main drive.
What's one tip that you'd give to other young professionals coming up?
Well, there are several tips, there are several keys to success, right? You have to work hard. There's no way you're going to be successful if you don't work hard. You have to be dedicated, and especially if it's your business versus you working for somebody, you have to be fully committed and fully dedicated. The second thing I would advise is that you can't give up, right? If you truly believe in it and you think it is something that makes sense and can work, you can't give up when, you know, things might not be going as well, or, you know, you come across some form of hurdle or obstacle, because those will come along, but you have to be committed and have the endurance to overcome that. The third thing I would say is to definitely take advice, right? Do your research, listen to persons that have done it before, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And 4, just keep your passion alive and keep your drive and be business smart, right? Make sure whatever it is you're doing is something that makes sense, and you've done thorough planning and investigations and the proper research to make sure that whatever it is that you are doing will be profitable and successful for you.
Well, now that we've gotten the zip lining out of the way, we're going to be doing
ATV riding.
Okay, well, I've never done this before.
Really, really fun. Huh? You will see.
Hectic.
You will see.
Oh, gosh.
You will see.
All right. Well,
let's go.
Let's go.
Alrighty.
Coming up.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Disc brake control all four wheels of the bike.
Okay.
It also uses a parking brake. Okay? Secondly, this is a gas right here. This what keeps the units going.
What?
Yes. It's not like one of the room type.
Okay.
If you come like this,
Alright.
it's not gonna move. No room.
Okay.
Yeah. The thumb
So
shocker.
that's how we get.
Yeah, the
Alright, that's how we get.
push it, the faster the bike gonna go. P is for park, R is for reverse, N is for neutral, L is for low gear, and H is for high gear.
Okay.
So once I place in high gear like that for you, that's it. Stays in high gear.
Okay. All right, Kevin, so I want to talk about your personal life, so to speak.
Interesting, okay.
Let's start with your childhood.
Okay.
How were you raised?
Well, I was raised in a nuclear family, right? Both of my parents, and I grew up with my parents and I have a younger brother.
Okay.
Happy family, you know.
Normal.
Normal family.
What schools did you go to?
I went to Stella Maris Prep. Then I went to the best high school, Campion College.
I mean, others would beg to
Non-debatable,
differ.
non-debatable. Right? After that, I went to UE.
You're not from here, you're an
I'm from
accent.
Trinidad actually, yes.
Oh, okay.
I came and we started med school. He was 1 year ahead of me, starting in 2004.
Okay.
Stop giving out the age, bro.
We've been friends for
At least 10 years.
at least 10 years.
Right. So, Kevin, are you dating right now?
I am. I do have a girlfriend.
Tell us a little about her.
Well, we've been together for a number of years now. Loving, caring, wonderful person. She's also a young business entrepreneur.
Okay.
So that's something that I really admire about her. And I guess, you know, we bounce ideas off each other with respect to that.
So any plans for the future where that's concerned? Hint, hint,
Well,
hint.
we'll see. But, you know, definitely at some point in the future, I do want to get married. I do want to have children,
Hold
start my
on.
own family.
Che, do you see him walking down the aisle?
He's a good guy. I can see it. I can see it.
In time, man. In time. Everything in time.
So what are your other interests? What are the things that you do for fun now that you have so many things going on with your professional life?
Well, for fun, I do events, right?
Okay.
Which is also business as well, but that's really fun for me.
Okay.
In addition to that, watch TV. I love football, so I watch a lot of football. I love hanging out with my friends. I love to joke, right? those persons that are close to me will know that that's me. I'm forever being a comedian,
Right.
so
Jovial.
that's what I love to do. And I like this type of stuff, outdoor
Right.
activities, adventure stuff. So that's what I do for fun.
Kevin, what's one thing that we'd never guess about? You know what, let me ask Che this question. Che, what's one thing that persons would never guess about Kevin?
Well, no, I can't say that. He actually stopped drinking
I think we
alcohol.
want the juicy stuff, you know.
No.
He stopped drinking alcohol about 6 years ago.
So you don't drink at all?
Kind of stopped, but yeah.
Just
I had to,
socially?
I had to.
What is that, some kind of medical reason?
Yeah, kind of, but it was tough, but yeah. I guess a lot of people would know about that.
You host parties, so this is a part of the lifestyle and you don't drink.
So you can imagine it's very
tricky.
It's tricky, you know?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I am extremely hungry right
man,
now.
I'm
So lunch
starving.
is right over there. Let's go.
Let's go. So Kendi, what do you think about my chill spot?
To be frank with you, this property is a lot more elaborate than I thought it was initially. I literally thought Choco just had the tours without these like actual spots to chill and hang out. And it's been a lovely day, really fun, a nice mix of fun and adventure and some relaxation.
So you come back again then?
Of course, definitely, in a heartbeat. I wouldn't zip line again though. Thank you so much for bringing us to Choco. It was an amazing day. I
No
really had a
problem,
good time.
anytime.
So thank you very much.
No problem.
At Choco, it's always time to play, and today we most certainly did that whilst getting to know the dynamic Dr. Kevin Henry. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and until next time, I'm Candy for Chill Spot. Bye.
It's a little bit more
Guys.
intense.
All right,
Get
so
that adrenaline rush.
let's start. Where are we gonna start?
Let's go.
Let's just walk out to the show. I don't know where we're walking to.
So Kendi, what do you think about my chill spot?
Some food just for my mouth.
Someone? One more
Food fell
time.
out my mouth, sorry. Let's get it. Yay!
Who we missed?
I missed. Now the front one.
Yo, please don't put that on.
Stop placing high gear like that for you.
That's it.
Easy now.
Okay.
Yeah, man?
All right.
Yeah, man.
No, me and Tori.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV. The global apparel market was valued at $1.7 trillion in 2012 and employed about 75 million people. With a budding fashion industry, we take a look at 3 people who are fashion incubators and helping to take fashion on the rise here in Jamaica. Today on Cameo.
Hello designers, welcome to the catwalk.
Executive producer of Mission Catwalk, Kenya Linton George, is no stranger to fashion, launching her own fashion line Kenya Linton in 2005. Now in its 5th season, Mission Catwalk has acted as a launching pad for Jamaican designers while sparking growth in the industry by partnering designers with retailers. Give us a brief history. Why did you decide to get into fashion in the first place?
I got involved in fashion at a very young age, like most designers. You tend to start picking up on the talent. And I never took it seriously as a career until I was in college studying philosophy, which was, you know, a bit daunting because you're spending all this money for a degree when you should have really been studying fashion. And that is when I started officially I'd say about 2005. I really started doing it professionally, and 2006 I did Caribbean Fashion Week. So that was the official launch of Kenya Linton Designs.
For you to come about with Mission Catwalk, like what was missing?
When America's Next Top Model was really hot, I thought, you know, it would be nice to have something like this for fashion designers where you could promote the designers and have great prizes to help their career. And then Project Runway came about, and I became very active in the fashion cluster to, you know, promote fashion designers. And I thought, you know, something like a Project Runway here would be very good. We tried to get the franchise, but it was very difficult because Jamaica's a very small market and we can't support the millions and millions of US dollars that is required to put on a production like that. So we decided to do our own smaller scale production, and that was the birth of Mission Catwalk. And the first season it was just 13 Jamaican designers, and we saw the talent that was there.
Now this will be the Fashion Innovation Challenge.
So tell me about the competition itself. How does it work and what do they win?
It's a typical reality TV show / competition where you have different prizes that you sign up to win. We have 12 designers. We give them a challenge at the beginning of the show. I'm the host, so I'm the one who gives them the challenge. I'm the one who delivers the verdict, so they love me and hate me at the same time. And we have 4 judges on the panel, so we give them a challenge. They go to Pablo's and shop for their fabric. We come back to this sewing room right here. They sew for about 8 to 10 hours, and it's magnificent to see what they can create in just 8 to 10 hours. So just less than a day, basically, or just a full work day for the average person. And they create wonders, and then after that it's the very next morning, 5 o'clock call time, and it's straight to the catwalk show.
What would you say is most important in Mission Catwalk acting as a launching pad for these emerging designers?
Overall, I would say it's a full grooming package for them, preparing them for the industry. And with Mercedes Gonzalez this season, they're getting that full grooming. So even if you don't win the overall package, you come out so much more prepared for the industry.
You mentioned in an interview some time back how hard it was seeking funding for your first season of Mission Catwalk.
It was difficult. It was a new TV show, so being a new program, it's even more difficult to get funding, and it's become easier over the years, and we've also had to find ways to cut costs. And now we're finally at a level where, you know, we're comfortable. And even in the fashion industry, for designers who are trying to start up their clothing line, it's difficult to find funding, and not everyone can afford to go to the bank for a loan. They don't have the collateral and so forth.
What do you think are some major issues we have with our fashion industry right now?
The major issue we have now with the fashion industry is most of our fashion designers are not professionally trained. We didn't have a fashion program in Jamaica for a very long time. So everyone, I'd say 95% of the designers are self-taught. And because of that, important aspects of how to run a fashion business, they don't understand. How to put together a collection, you know, color theory, everything to do with marketing and so forth. They just don't understand. They just know that they have this skill, they have this talent, and people want to buy stuff from them. The garment industry, the challenges there would be utility cost and labor cost. So we lost the market to China, like Mexico and most other countries than the United States. And that was a challenge for us. The industry took a blow.
What would you say are some opportunities that now exist in the fashion industry, especially here in Jamaica?
I think we're at a prime moment now with, you know, the growth of the industry in terms of having a fashion program. We have persons who are open to wearing local designers even more, because everything is now about mass market and mass production, and people are getting tired of that. It happens very often. You go to a wedding and 3 people turn up in the same BCBG dress, because you're going to a wedding, you go to Miami, and they all go to Aventura, they all go into the same BCBG, and they all choose the same dress from that season. And they end up at the wedding in the same dress.
Tell me about your relationship with Designers Guild and what exactly is it that they do?
Well, the Designers Guild is a professional non-profit organization that really looks out for the interest of Jamaican designers. It started in 2010, a group of designers and myself who we tend to share information and interact with each other a lot and try to help each other to grow. And we thought, you know, there really wasn't a body that really was looking out for us or benefiting us at that time. And we decided to start an official guild of designers. And our first project was to fund Edna Manley College. They had a fashion program, but they only had 2 sewing machines. And we rallied around and got sponsorship and funding to set up the space. And it was also a partnership with Mission Catwalk.
Tell me about future plans, not only for Mission Catwalk, but Designer Guild.
Future plans for the Designers Guild would be to continue to represent the interest of local designers. We want to partner with international bodies to, you know, create international synergy and more opportunities for our designers. We're taking a contingency of designers to edit trade show in New York, and we're trying to focus more on the retail business part of things. Shifting our focus from fashion shows, because fashion shows in Jamaica tend to be seen as entertainment, and internationally, when a designer does a fashion show, it usually means the business part is taken care of already.
All human life is precious. Respect life. No more senseless killings. No more.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV. She is committed to establishing Jamaica as the fashion hub of the Caribbean and launched the Collection Moda, a series of events in 2010. Let's chat with Kerry Ann Clark. So you attended the Parsons School of Design. Tell me about your background.
I have always had an interest in the fashion industry, and I am one of these people who believe that you should find out what you're passionate about and pursue your dream. So, staying true to that mantra, I wanted to study in Paris because Paris is the fashion capital of the world. So I did a little research, found out that Parsons School of Design had a campus in Paris, applied, as accepted, and at age 18 I went to study fashion at Parsons School of Design, which is one of the most prestigious fashion schools in the fashion capital of the world. Having studied in Paris for 5 years, the school allowed us to to attend multiple fashion shows of like fashion bigwigs. I'm talking about the Versace's, the Yves Saint Laurent, the Christian Lacroix. We also attended trade show platforms from like textile manufacturing to clothing manufacturing to anything that industry insiders needed to know. And then of course, being in Paris, we had to, as a part of our curriculum also, attend the opera, go to museums, and it was just an amazing experience. I would like honestly say it was one of the most fascinating experiences thus far in my life.
How do you move from year to year to year? I think a lot of people would say that Jamaican pieces especially tend to be overpriced. They can't afford them.
So they are higher priced because, for example, this designer, she's a textile graduate from the Edna School, and she actually designs her fabrics and then gets her fabrics made and printed in New York, and then she brings it in and makes her work. So that is a lot of work, and that is going to be more costly than going to a fashion store and buying fabric store and buying fabric and making it. But I don't think it's overpriced. You can't put a price on creativity.
Okay. At what point did you decide to open Kerry Man Woman and Home?
After returning to Jamaica, I helped my parents in the family business. I'm from a business-oriented background for about 3 years, and then I saw a need for a boutique like mine, and I decided to create a boutique to fulfill my passion and create a business. So why not create business from a passion?
At what point did you transition from Kerry Man Woman and Home to the Collection Moda?
So Kerry Man Woman Home is celebrating 12 years in the retail industry in Jamaica, and I guess because I am passionate about the fashion industry. I love creative minds and creative geniuses. They excite me. And with the store, I'd always showcase local talent. And over time, I was helping more and more local designers. And what was happening was spending a lot of time helping a designer today, another designer tomorrow, whether it was for advice or for mentorship or guidance or sharing advice. And again, it was a natural synergy. Why not create a platform where I can try to help, along with a team of persons, multiple emerging talents and designers, rather than spending one day and another day and another day helping one. So it's trying to grow and help more people over a period of time.
So let's get into the collection model. What exactly is the collection model?
So the collection model, as I said, was born from me seeing the need to assist, to share knowledge and so forth. And the mandate of the collection model is to provide a platform for creative talent, not just fashion designers, but creative talent in Jamaica and eventually in the region, in the CARICOM, and help to give them a platform. So it's not a fashion show only, it consists of a series of events. And basically that's the mandate of the series.
And how has it been?
It's been great. We're in the 4th year. There are different components to the series of events. We have a grant, a first global grant, where one person is awarded a cash award of $250,000. Last year we had about 90 applicants. This year we're hoping to have 120. We have Moda Business, which is a business seminar where we invite persons internationally and locally who are industry specialists to share their knowledge with the attendees. We have a lifestyle magazine, which is an annual publication featuring not only local talent, again, but regional talent. And then we have Moda Market, and that is where the business unfolds. We have the invitation only runway show.
What challenges would you say that you face each staging of the collection model?
Well, we are growing, and I think the challenge is to find the right team, in finding the right team to carry out, because it's a lot of work and it's a labor of love. And obviously it's not going to happen overnight. As I said, we're in the 4th year. We have seen steady growth from year to year, whether, especially with Moda Market. And Moda Market is what we want. Our aim with Moda Market is for it to be the regional platform for emerging talent.
Do you have any advice for those people who want to get into the fashion industry? Maybe not necessarily a designer, stylist?
I would definitely say, you know, a lot of people look at the fashion industry and what they see is the finished product. It's a hard industry. It's difficult. Not only, we don't have manufacturing here. You asked what opportunity could arise. You know, you never know. That's an opportunity. We could bring manufacturing back to Jamaica. If not, we could work with the other CARICOM islands and see how we could manufacture and have the free trade amongst ourselves. But that is an opportunity. But I definitely would say it is not an easy industry. It's a lot of work. It is planning. It takes dedication. You have to be organized because it's an industry that operates 6 months in advance. You know, when you go to fashion weeks, you're looking at collections for the following year and for the following season. So you need to be organized, you need to understand that, and you need a business partner. You can't just be brain A-side, like a creative brain. You have to have a good balance.
So what are the future plans for not only the collection Moda, but Carry Man Woman Home and Carry Ann Clark?
Well, for Carry Man Woman Home, we're looking at going e-commerce very soon, because that is the future of the retail industry, and it's a good add-on. Possibly opening in other islands again. And for the collection Moda, as I said, our grand vision, for Carry Man Woman Home, I travel, I'd say, several times a year to various trade shows, New York, Vegas, Atlanta. And this is one of the inspirations to see the business behind it, because that is where all the buyers and the fashion insiders go, and there are seminars and you learn more, and you know, you get tips for retail, you get tips for designers, and you're exposed to the people who manufacture, the designers, and it should happen here. We have the talent here.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
we are serious about the business of real estate. So catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Lauralee Jones is the head of the Textiles and Fiber Arts Department here at Edna Manley College. She'll talk to us about how their fashion program is acting as a fashion incubator. So give us some background on Edna Manley College.
Edna Manley College is a fabulous space, and that's just my personal opinion on being a graduate. It's that space where you have the opportunity to really explore your creative juices. We have art, we have drama, we have dance, we have music, and we also have our arts management program. So it's really that place where you can create, be.
At what point did Edna Manley College feel that it was necessary to have their own fashion-related type programs like the textile and fiber arts?
The program is still relatively new. We're having our second batch of graduates this year. But the process that got that in train was a longer process because, of course, you had to write the courses for the program. So that, I would say, maybe was going on for about 4 years prior. And then the program came on stream and we had the first set last year. It's a 4-year program, BFA, 4 years. And then we have our second set this year. So we're really still in the baby stages.
So as the head of the Textiles and Fiber Arts Department, how would you say that Edna Manley College is now contributing to our local fashion scene?
The contribution to our fashion industry is that we'll have individuals who are trained, individuals who understand some of the fundamental elements of design, of art, and how they bring that to their design process as designers, as fashion designers, understanding the color dynamics, understanding fabric, being innovative, because we don't only focus on just buying fabric to create a style. You can make your own fabric, you can print your own fabric, you can dye your own fabrics. And that's the unique feature that Edna Manley brings to the program.
We have a number of different people here locally who are trying to turn Jamaica in a fashion destination. They're trying to put Jamaica on the map. What would you say is some key important things that need to happen in order for that to become a reality?
Okay, so we've started with education. So Edna Manley has a BFA program because it's not only creative, right? We find sometimes we have people who are very, very creative, mucho talent, but then how do I get that to market? How do I manage my business? They say that artists don't make good business people, but we want to change that.
So tell me about the Textile and Fiber Arts Department.
My lovely department. Textile and Fiber Arts Department, we offer textile and fiber arts, so you can major in weaving, so you make fabric. You can do textile and fiber arts, where you're looking at the fiber art elements. So if you want to do pieces for museum and galleries, there's that focus, the art focus. There's also the fashion program, which is the newest addition to the Textile and Fiber Arts Department. So we don't have a fashion department, so the fashion program is situated in the Textile and Fiber Arts Department.
What do you think can be done from a government standpoint to, I guess, invest more in our fashion industry here and make it more profitable for stakeholders across the board?
There's a lot that can be done, and I think the government has been making some strides. So as I said, JBDC with its IRC, there is an initiative that's coming through the Ministry of, through JAMPRO's office, the Ministry of Investment, I can't remember the exact ministry now, And so they have a group of fashion designers and others who are looking at some programs to help strengthen, to build out that value chain. You have agencies like your JMA, for example. So there are pockets of associations and business advisory groups that are there.
So talk to us about some success stories from your graduates.
Whoa. There's Nicole Bryan. Nicole working through Kerry Man Woman Home, Kerry and Clark, just Yendi Phillips. She had some major thing in Canada. So Nicole was able to be the one who created her designs for this fabulous interview. Kerry is also working with some of my graduates this year and looking at projects for Tessan. So I think there is Makeda who did something for Tessan, and Julianne Walker who also did something for Tessan. I want to see people come to Jamaica. I want to see buyers coming to Jamaica and scouting out for new talent, for new collections to showcase in their stores overseas. Yeah, and I speak about overseas because our market is small. Jamaica is small. 2.5 million. It's not enough for all the creativity that is here. So we have to look. I speak of the global space. We have to look out, right? And if we're really going to contribute to GDP, we need to be exporting more of our products to the rest of the world.
So in regards to your fashion program here, what does Edna College plan to achieve with it?
The program is growing, so I think if we look at an achievement, one of the things we wanted to see was growth. And I do have more and more students coming in who are coming in specific for the fashion, so that in itself is growing. Well, what we plan to achieve is, as I said before, having trained designers, fashion designers. The focus is heavily, of course, on design. We hope that the program will build out where we can get stronger on the business side of fashion, so that brings a better balance. So I'm creative, but I'm also understanding the business side.
And that's it for this week on Cameo. We spoke to 3 people who are acting as fashion incubators to grow our local fashion industry. I'm Amita Prasad Webb. Until next time, see you later.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms.